Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're listening. Welcome to Your Onion podcast show. Today we have very special guests. We have Jacqueline, and I'm not going to pronounce her surname, so she can do that after. And then I have Werner Hendricks. So Jacqueline, just pronounce your surname.
Kruithof.
Oh look, you made that sound easy. When you were before you came in, you gave that whole
Dutch accent. Oh really?
Yeah, go on.
Oh, Kruithof.
Yeah, that's
just
it.
The way
so
it
that
is.
kind of put me off.
Just the way it is.
So, and then you just did the English version.
For you, special for you.
So anyway, these guys. So Jacqueline is askmrsq.com.
Yes.
And Werner is treebuilders.eu.
Perfect.
So, Jacqueline, can you give us a little insight into...
About Ask Mrs. Q?
No, about just you in general and how you ended up here in Qatar. But do the shorter version.
Yes, I will not tell you all the details.
We've only got half an hour.
That's why,
Absolutely,
I know. A situation made that I was visiting Qatar in 2011, and I was totally attractive about the development. And at that moment, I decided to do nothing, like a kind of sabbatical, just sold my shares. But if you are visiting Qatar for the first time, you're so impressed about development. And with my 24/7 entrepreneurial eyes, I told myself, don't look, but I did. And then the process is starting that I want to understand what is going on. And the shortcut is that I saw quite quickly that a lot of companies, small, mid-cap entrepreneurs, orientation in Qatar. And within 2 years, many of them just leaving. And I was like, why is this? You have such a potential, you have the right profile. And that actually created, after years, doing some projects that I decided I will offer a business desk Qatar for especially, and don't get jealous, Dutch companies in certain areas where I really look to their profile, their potential. Are they looking for expansion? And is Qatar maybe an option for them? And the most important thing is to provide them the details, the knowledge and the guidance. What is needed to set up your business here in Qatar instead of our quite European way of doing our business, quick, no patience. I'm convinced about my product. I'm already successful.
Yes.
So that is what Ask Mrs. Q do.
But so Mrs. Q gives that kind of, come down the road with me and I'll,
yes,
hold your hand.
I connect you, the right network, what is needed for your product to make it local successful. And also, as an entrepreneur, if you need patience, how do you finance your patience? And how can you approach the local markets? And you know it too, Stephen, it's all being visible, drinking the coffee, meeting each other, talk, sharing knowledge. And most of the entrepreneurs need to go back to the Netherlands or going back to Europe for their business. So how can you approach a total new market where connection is so important? So I'm offering also kind of being running mate, the local running mate for the company, and to make it done long term.
And I'm just curious because we had Palma Lobote on the previous week, and she was talking about helping Italian companies come into the country, and she was saying the Italian character and nature of doing business is quite relaxed, and they're quite used to dealing with chaos, but in a calm manner. How would you kind of sum up the Dutch? How do
that's a good one actually. And when I say I'm Dutch, all the Qataris said, you're straightforward. It's what you see is what you get.
Okay.
And I think our way of doing business is calm. We are convinced, respectful, and is just make it happen. We are used to do for centuries trade all over the world. And at this moment, many Dutch companies are really on an innovation level because of the good economy. They are able to innovate. And we were talking about sustainability. the awareness to approach, to achieve a level of sustainability for all the entrepreneurs is really important, and they really like to expand their ideas and knowledge. And I think with Qatar that they like their calm way, how we approach. Sometimes, of course, Dutch are stubborn, like me.
No way. No way.
Not at all.
Okay.
No, but I think our honest way, straightforward of doing business is really important for Qatar. And beside that, I see many Qataris are interested to invest in the Netherlands. It's a kind of how do you call it, discovered area for investment. It's really interesting.
How is the Netherlands in regards to, are they up with the technology? Is there a lot of entrepreneurs?
Yeah, high level. We have a huge amount of also young entrepreneurs, not only startup, but our entrepreneurial climate is really good, also supported by the government. And many young people see that the freedom to develop knowledge instead of only staying in big companies like, for example, here Shell or Philips, it's good. It's a good learning process. At the other hand, they see like if you want to make it happen, your own ideas with your own vision, you need to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And they take also what is needed to become the right entrepreneur, especially in technology and water management. We call it Nexus. That's all about water management, energy, food security. We are really on a high level in development. Yeah. So I'm really proud on that as Dutch.
That's very good. And the government support the entrepreneurs. They have support systems in that.
A lot.
Yeah.
We have, beside of information events from the government on different levels, we are supporting those entrepreneurs in investment also. I'm thinking, how do they support it specific in?
There are lots of awards for new ideas. So many small companies, young people are coming in, and if they have a good idea, then they get some money from an award. And then they can, together with companies that are already established, with knowledge how to do business, how to make products, and then they are combined. And that's what the government is doing, combining people together, big companies with smaller companies who have a good idea but not experience how to market the product.
Yeah.
And that's actually also where that's my final goal, that Ask Mrs. Q will be the business platform for, at one hand, for the Dutch entrepreneurs who are in a certain area of water management technology, of what is really needed here in Qatar now. And we all know about the floating of last week. And we know that
well,
the
you
Dutch...
came at the right time if it's about water management.
Yeah, the Dutch, we are... I don't want to be too arrogant, but we have to deal with water for centuries.
Well, it's the whole story about the boy with the finger in the dam.
So and what I like to offer is to the guidance actually from one side on the business platform. As you come to Ask Mrs. Q, you have guarantee guidance, guarantee connecting to the right network. And at the other hand, for Qatari, especially more and more on the private sector, they're looking for good investment, long term, really long term. So not a shortcut return on investment within 3 months. But if you are connecting on the business platform, you have some guarantees, and on the business platform you will meet each other. And it's not only for Qatar, but it's also making possible for entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, to develop more and more their vision in their business.
Now, you're going for entrepreneurs, so did you feel there was a gap in the market with regards to what, because isn't there a Dutch Chamber of Commerce or a Dutch Business Council? Aren't they fulfilling, looking after Dutch businesses that want to come and do business here in Qatar?
We did some research on Qatar with the Chamber of Commerce, and the result was that don't go to Qatar.
Oh, really?
And then Jackie, we met at the conference, and she got to know our company, and she called us and she said, there are chances in Qatar, but you have to take them and you have to understand what is going on.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important, that the right knowledge. And I think with Jackie, without Jackie, I hadn't come to Qatar. With Jackie, I've come to Qatar. We had some very nice meetings the last few days, and I'm very impressed how Qatar is looking and what they're doing. And I feel that our knowledge as Dutch people regarding what my company is doing, making the city livable, I think there can be some kind of trade or exchange of knowledge.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy that people like Jackie, small companies, are taking care of that. And the Chamber of Commerce, they do their job, but it's off for the big companies.
Do you think it's for the big companies? They're more focused for the big companies, and you're looking after them.
Yeah, and I see there, especially now here in Qatar, regarding all the challenges we have here, because it's really my second home in the meantime after 8 years. I really want to be part of that, I call it, introduce global change makers. It's a big word, but we start small.
Absolutely.
And the most important thing is that those companies, the big companies where Werner is talking about, they have enough support. They are in the Middle East for centuries, not but many years. And they will find a way. They have the sources, they have the financial sources, they have the knowledge to being a global multinational. But I think more and more nowadays, and for sure it's in the UK the same, that the real changing is coming from smaller companies. The knowledge is there, the visions are there, the technology is there, and they need all the support to survive. And somebody from here was telling me from QSTP actually that the multinationals, actually they're waiting, that they see that those guys, they cannot make it, so at least they can take over and take the knowledge away. And I think that's totally wrong, because the small entrepreneurs, they're flexible. And we saw it, we discovered more and more that Tree Builders has really a good potential on several, not only problems, but long-term investment solutions for Qatar. And in our meetings yesterday with government, Ashgal, we met Nakhil, the landscape engineerings, we talk to them, we share knowledge, that even for Werner, you see that, okay, for Qatar, this is more important than my basic product actually maybe will be in the Netherlands and Oslo, you're doing some great, in France. You see, that's important to change.
Well, let's hear from Werner, about your business. Give us an insight.
My business is called Tree Builders, not because we're actually building trees, but we have the ability that we make the solution that the tree can grow better inside the city. I believe a city needs trees to give a livable city.
These days, more and more.
More and more. Because everybody needs green, and you can see here when the sun is down, everybody is gathering in the green because that's a nice area. Everybody feels relaxed in that. And but in the cities that we have, the big cities, one thing is mostly forgotten. There's the big trees, because we're building houses, buildings, very big buildings, nice buildings, very wide roads, and then we have some square meters for the green. And then, of course, we can't plant a big tree in just a cubic meter. We're supporting trees under the ground with systems that can collect water and also manage the roots underneath the pavements.
Well, I was going to say that, because isn't that the main issue for planners, is the fact that if I plant a tree, the roots are going to go everywhere and destroy the beautiful roads, the beautiful pavement.
And our company is combining the green, grey and blue infrastructure.
Right.
We do that in different ways.
How do you do that?
We have products that can support the road and still have uncompacted soil underneath. So a tree is always, in a park, a tree will grow better than in the road. Why? Because in a park, the soil is not compacted.
Right.
We have systems like a big bunker underneath the road, and it's filled up with uncompacted soil, so the tree can really get its roots down into that.
So the roots follow the easiest path.
Yeah,
and it's like they breathe underground.
Yeah, and they don't get out because why should the roots go out if they have uncompacted soil?
Yeah.
And that way they won't damage the utilities, water pipes, and the roads. And because it's uncompacted soil, if you have a rain event, the water can flow in and just infiltrate inside the uncompacted soil, and then you have it, green, grey, and blue combined.
Nice. And would your system be able to cope with a heavy downfall like we've had over the last week?
It can help reduce the problems afterwards.
Yeah.
There's no system that can reduce everything. Then you need to open your roads and have your sewer systems make much bigger dimensions. But then when you're finished, the next rain event will be bigger than you had before. Then the sewer system is again too small.
Yeah.
We need more and more small projects to get the water out of the sewer systems because they are too small for the new rain events. And one of our products can help with that, but we need more products, of course, and not only this one.
And can you implement your products with an already established, so if I built part of a town, can I implement your system after I've already laid my road and paths, or does it have to be implemented in the initial stage of building?
The best is to implement when a renewal of the city is going on, because it's underneath the road, so you have to renew the road.
Yeah.
But we do it mostly with newly planted trees in a new road situation or square.
Yeah.
But we do also big renovations like in Rotterdam and in Arles in France, where all the new trees are planted and the system is just underneath the road. So the trees that are already been big, we want to preserve those trees, and in our system they have the roots down into that the same year, and then they can survive the stress of the new renovation of the road.
And are you dealing with, when you're doing like renovations, or are you dealing with trees that are already there, or do you add brand new trees? How does it work?
Mostly our system is the best when you have new trees planted, because then you can do everything correctly. Because when you have an already existing tree, the roots are already up just underneath the asphalt, and you have to cut them if you want to renew your road and get a system in.
Yeah.
So the best way to get also guarantee there will be no pavement lifting for the future is only by planting new trees.
Okay.
But we can do a lot for existing trees, but then there are always the inspection is less than with new trees.
And with your system, is it do you have to adapt it to the different types of trees? Like, the palm tree is a very popular tree over here, and there's certain trees that are more adapted to this kind of climate. Now, with your system, you're giving them more water than they're probably used to. So, are they able to survive? And
that will be no problem. Our system is just supporting the roads.
Yeah.
And we have a water collection storage.
Yeah.
And depending on the soil type, the local soil type, and the local tree species, they are already there. We're just providing an uncompacted a park underneath the road,
right,
and the tree coming up the road. So underneath, everything is just like the park you already have. So we don't change anything. So the trees is standing in the park when it's raining, they get wet also.
Yeah.
They survive.
Yeah.
So in our system, they survive too.
Okay. And what's your background? How did you get into this whole field?
All this stuff.
Yeah, obviously you must have been a tree fanatic or something like that.
No, it was because of shame of what landscape architects were doing. I'm a landscape designer.
Okay.
Worked for that many years. And I came in contact with a project that we did with planting trees in pavement. And then the engineer and the municipality told us, please come over because the trees are not growing and maybe you can tell us about that. At that time I was working for another company. My chef told me, okay, well, you go to them because they're complaining about the trees and everything, but we're just for the aesthetic drawings, we're not for the engineering.
Yeah.
But go to them, they want somebody from us over there. So I went there and I saw the trees and I thought, okay, this way, when we looked at the soil, I told them, yeah, this way we cannot plant the tree because if you want a big tree, you need some soil and not only concrete and only a box inside the concrete.
Wow.
And then I got familiar with more projects. I saw some projects, award-winning projects for landscape architects. And after 10 years, I got there. And so old award-winning projects I visit, and the trees were not doing that well.
Wow.
And I thought, okay, somebody should take care of that. And then I got back to the university again, and I became an expert in soil conditions, and that's how I became familiar with that. And I'm just enjoying this work because there are not many people, because most landscape architects are only about how it's going to be on paper, and not how it's going to be in the future.
Wow. So when did you establish the company? And when did you establish the company?
It's the company is already 20 years old, and I got working there 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's a Greenmax company. And 2 years ago, now about 2 years ago, we said, okay, we need some new products. I'm always looking at the contractor and the municipality. What problems do they have, and can we solve that? And I'm always looking for new products and new ideas. And then I thought, okay, we need something new. And I told my chef, Eric, I told him, okay, I have an idea what we can do better. But you're just paying my monthly wages.
Yeah.
But I want to get involved more and more in this. And that way, some of the products that we designed that are now in Tree Builders Company. And now I'm one of the directors of the Tree Builders Company.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So these products, you designed them, and where they manufactured? Are they manufactured in Holland or?
Partly in Holland and the rest in Europe.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's very European.
Yeah, we're just very European located now, and also because there are lots of big cities also in Europe that need big trees. But we're now also focusing on the Middle East. What can we do over there? Because it's for us, it's quite easy. It's
why the Middle East? Why the Middle East? You know, haven't you got enough work in Europe? Yeah, well, I understand that, but is there not enough work in Europe?
Yeah, there's enough work, but I told Eric about, okay, we need to expand because after some years we need new innovation, so we need lots of production and sales to get new innovations going on, because we have to pay back the investigations we did.
Yeah.
And I told him I want to have a private life also, so please don't
forget about it. Entrepreneur, forget about it.
Time difference more than 3 hours, and that's most of Europe, of course, a little bit of Russia into it, and the Middle East is also only now 2 hours time difference, so it's in that time difference.
Yeah, and I think it's important that Werner is aware, when we started on the souk, to understand the culture and doing the business here in Qatar, that you need a long-term vision and patience to develop. So if you want to climb the Qatar stair, at least one step you need to make. And from there you can develop, and you can maybe develop some new requested or needed details on the product. And in our meetings yesterday with government, but also with private investing companies, you see that they are aware about now actually Qatar is on the way to make those changes. And also and I really hope that they see that they're not only going for the shortcut investment and make it happen only for 2022.
No, I hope not either. I hope
I
they've
really
got a
hope
longer.
that the tree builders with their multi-beneficial product, and I really like always companies who are covering multi-beneficial business. It's a long-term investment, but the cost finally will much more lower than what we saw, and that was really hurting you too, because I learned from Werner what is a happy tree. So now on my running and my walking, I look to every tree. Are you happy or are you not happy? And I can see by
So
myself.
if
I
anyone
don't
sees
need
this crazy Dutch lady talking to the trees,
to happy
you
trees.
know
We have
it's
some
Jackie.
background on talking to trees, even in our royal family.
Yeah.
But
sure you have.
I think it's really important that Qatar will become on a level of awareness and change their way of doing business. So please, it's a call to action to Qatar. Even also in sustainability is a long term, and it's not only talking on conferences, but it's a call to action. And that's why I'm so happy that Werner took the time and invest to come here to Qatar to see it with his own eyes. And we finally yesterday we said to each other, wow, there are chances, but the decision makers finally needs to see that now there are so many roads need to be built, public areas around the stadiums, around the metro stations, and now you can make a change not only 2022 but long term with this system. And we were visiting Education City Mosque, and many trees fall down by the little wind. And they said heavy wind, but we are used to really heavy wind.
Oh yeah.
And the little and the floating, and what you see actually, they replace the tree, and the same will happen in maybe 2 months. Just finally the cost will be the same, and then the call to action. Please bring those companies with knowledge, with innovation, and long-term investment will be the best investment. And we just said like happy trees will provide happy people.
Happy people. No, absolutely. No, but I do generally feel there is a change happening. You know, especially with the Green Building Council and the changes and the people and the companies that are more on board. It is changing little by little. Things are changing.
It starts with awareness.
It is, absolutely. And they're making a real effort to get the word out there, making people more aware and changing habits. But you know how long it took Europe to, get there.
I know, that's why.
This is a very young country.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
that was actually the first thing I explained to you.
Yeah.
Don't forget that Qatar is not longer than 50 years
No.
existing. And I explained, you see the Sheraton, okay, there was one road and a Sheraton, that's it. And that's not, you were counting, did I live? Yeah, I said, you were walking around as a little boy on this. And then Qatar was there. So, yes, but, and in all the mistake we made in Europe, Qatar can leave it behind and go directly to those.
Oh yeah, there is. Yeah.
Those things. What is really needed, also in Qatar. We were visiting one of the farms in Salal, and there were kind of little lakes in the desert. And he said, "Are you sure we are in the desert?" I said, "Yeah." And I said, "Climate change will be chances for many new things."
Absolutely.
So
The learning curve from every country that we have, and of course, the learning curve of Qatar will be much smaller because they can learn from experience from abroad.
For sure.
But there is a learning curve. We know that, but that's why we're here, just to get the word out.
I know, but then there has been a lot. You got to understand Carla's point of view as well. There's been a lot of people that have come in saying that they're the experts in various things, and then they've taken the money and gone. And,
I know
run.
the history.
So
about
they've been
this.
very cautious about who they can work with and trust.
Yeah, and it will be really my challenge for Ask Mrs. Q to really bring the change makers, and also to Qatar to put all my energy to convince them to make right decisions, to cooperate with the really good companies, and they're still there, many of them.
Yeah, but how are you deciding which are good companies and
it's
which
my
are...
research. I'm an entrepreneur for
right.
more than 30 years, so I know what I see, and it's also your feeling. If you meet the people I met Werner, it feels good.
Oh yeah, no. When I first met him in the reception, I felt a good vibe.
Thank you.
I think beside of the product and beside of all the potential you have, I also look to the people, because human is so important. And that actually, I always say, bridging cultures, connecting people, exploring opportunities, but you do it together.
Yeah.
So it will be my pleasure
What
to
is
be
your
part of the
reputation?
development.
What is your reputation on the line as well? If you introduce someone that
Yeah. So yeah, it
doesn't work.
Yeah, so it's really also my pleasure that he took the time to come over. I'll send him back tomorrow. He needs to go back to the Netherlands.
Well, I think he's
We have
shattered,
some
isn't he?
floating today in the Netherlands.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we really have serious floating today
You need
in
to
the
get back and
Netherlands.
sort them out.
Yeah. Help them out.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, Stefan.
So hopefully we'll see you again, winner.
I hope so.
We
Yeah.
hope to see many happy trees in
Oh,
Qatar.
absolutely. I look forward to seeing some
Yeah.
happy
Happy
trees
trees
and
in
talking
And
to
I
some
hope I
happy
can help
trees.
with that in Qatar.
And if anyone wants to, find more information about you and your company, where do they go?
They can visit www.treebuilders.eu, and they can find everything in English,
Yeah.
so everybody can read something. If they need some more information, they can contact us by email, info@treebuilders.com of a .eu,
EU. Okay.
and we will answer them as soon as possible.
Superb. And it's not just the Qatari market you're looking at the whole Middle East, because this goes out across.
We're looking everywhere where big cities are growing, and more people are coming to the cities, and we have chances. So we're getting out more and more out of Europe, and not only Qatar.
And the whole world needs more
Yes.
trees, so, it's a big
Great.
thumbs up to you guys.
It's the
Yeah, thank
auction
you.
for the world. Auction. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Thanks again. Thanks for coming on the
Thank
show,
you.
and I wish
A
you all the
pleasure.
best.
Thank you, Seth.
Thank you. Thank you for watching and listening to Your Onion Podcast, and we wish you all the best for the coming week. Thank you very much.